Hey, Advanced Lit, I thought maybe you'd like a quick little review before your first lit terms quiz about like the most commonly confused lit terms. So I'm going to do just those that I think that you hadn't heard before or that you might miss. So give me a second. We're going to switch cameras and then we'll get going. Okay, the first one that we're going to tackle is allusion. Allusion means that you refer to other stories, literature, songs, whatever. So, like, if you know somebody, well, let's say that you know a boy has a crush on somebody, you could call him a Romeo. So, you're alluding to Romeo and Juliet. Or let's say that you know somebody who's kind of a player, he might be called a Don Juan because the book written by Lord Byron was about a man named Don Juan, who went out and had all kinds of relationships. Okay, so allusion, you're alluding to some other piece of work. Okay, all right, antithesis. Remember, anti, we've got opposite. And with our thesis, it's like our format is the same, though. Okay, so an example of antithesis would be like, to err is human. To forgive, whoops, helps if I can spell. To forgive, divine. Okay, so err means to screw up, whoops, right? To make an error. And forgive would be like forgiving that error. And then human, we know what a human is. The opposite of human is divine. Okay, so antithesis is when you have opposite words. Think if you drew a line down that sentence. The format is the same. To err is human, to forgive divine. It's in parallel structure, but err and forgive are opposites, and human and divine are opposites. Okay, our next one is apostrophe. And remember, apostrophe is speaking to an object or someone who's dead. Okay, and remember, speaking, you use quotation marks, which are really just two apostrophes put together, right? So you can remember apostrophe for that. So in Julius Caesar, Antony sees Caesar has been stabbed, and he says, "Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth." So he's referring to Caesar, who has just been killed. And he actually calls him, an inanimate object here, the earth. But usually an apostrophe is going to start with an O to show that you're speaking to something, actually. All right, chiasmus. Okay, chiasmus is when we have, like, you could put a mirror to it. Or you could fold it. It's symmetrical. So an example would be it's nice to be important. It is, isn't it? To be important. It's nice to be important. But it's important to be nice. Okay, so we've got nice here at the front, but then we have it at the back there, and we've got important at the back here, whoops, and then at the front here. So if you think about a formula, it's like A, B, and then B, A. And like the symmetry, you draw a line in between, and you could fold it, whoops, so sorry guys, you could fold it on itself. So like the B's would fold onto each other and the A's would fall onto each other. Okay, our next one is didactic. So the point of a didactic is it teaches. So a fable, a parable. When you see the words teach or to learn, know. So the whole point of a didactic text is to teach something. Okay, malapropism is when you substitute, you use an incorrect word, but it sounds like the correct word. For example, yeah, man, that's just a pigment of my imagination. Really? A pigment? So it should really be what? Figment. Yeah, absolutely. So pigment and figment sound alike, but pigment is clearly the wrong word. Or another one would be like weapons of mass production. Oh, shoot, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not watching the camera here. Okay, so weapons of mass production. Nah. What should that be instead? Yeah, destruction. Okay, parallelism is when we have parts of a sentence in the same order. Like we saw up here with to err is human, to forgive divine. So we have our infinitive phrase, to err, verb phrase, and an infinitive verb phrase. We have an adjective. I mean, I know it's a noun, but it acts as an adjective or a subject complement on each side. So let's say that you had a sentence that looks like this. I like skiing, swimming, and to hike. That's not exactly in parallel order because we have skiing, great, swimming, and to hike. Yeah, see, that's the janky part. So if we change that to skiing, swimming, and hiking, then we would be in parallel structure. Or if we changed all these to ski, to swim, and to hike, then it would be in parallel structure. So all the parts need to be in the same order. Okay, and then our last ones, we have romance, where everything goes right. So everything is perfect. You wake up late and realize it's a Saturday and you're like, oh, I didn't miss school. That's awesome. Or you find $20 in your coat pocket. Or you get invited to someplace you really wanted to go. So everything goes right for romance. So it's not just hearts and love and whatever, but it's everything goes right. So some emojis there. Okay. Synecdoche, I always spell this wrong. I want to put an H there, but H goes at the end there. Synecdoche is when a part represents a whole. So like if you said, of course, our main example, wheels, when you really mean a whole car. Maybe you say, hey, we're going to go down and get out the sails when you mean a whole boat or a ship. Let's say you take a head count. Well, you're not just counting heads, you're counting the whole person, right? So synecdoche is a part that represents the whole thing. All right, and then our last one is satire, and satire, is making fun of a serious issue. So yes, it is sarcasm, but sarcasm is usually spoken, whereas satire is usually just written. Okay? So making fun is satire and sarcasm. Sarcasm is usually spoken, whereas satire is, well, it'll be more long and involved because it's written. Okay? So here are some words that I thought you might want to go over before your quiz on Friday. And remember, our quiz is going to, 1 second, okay. You're going to have, excuse me, you're going to have a passage, briefly pass it through there, and then you'll have an answer sheet like this where you have to fill in the blanks, okay? So remember, if you get below an 80, I'm going to ask you to take it again because I want you to know these terms so that when we start to analyze literature, you can pull them out of your hat and say, oh, when the author alludes to Greek mythology, they're really doing this, this, and this, okay? All right, so if you have any questions, just send me an email. See you later.